Welcome to the Mind and Body Performance Podcast, where we address your health and overall well-being. I'm your host, Jake Murphy, and today we're going to dive into a deep conversation about relationships and communication. Remember, these are my thoughts, my realizations. You may agree with some things and you may not, and that is totally okay. Don't we all deserve the right to speak? Was there ever a time where you wanted to express yourself and either didn't have the courage, the words, or the opportunity to step up and express your opinion? I believe this starts within our childhood, in different experiences that we may have growing up, where we may want to talk, and maybe we do. Maybe it was an adult conversation and we tried to jump in, or maybe our friends or people that we wanted to be friends with were at school and we tried to jump in conversation and we didn't get the reaction that we wanted to get. Or maybe we're playing a video game and we're trying to join a party of people that we're playing with, and maybe they kick you out, or maybe they don't allow you to join. And so from an early age, I think we oftentimes run into experiences where we want to open up, we might want to express ourselves, and it just doesn't go our way. And now it becomes a trigger. And a trigger is that emotional response. So maybe now the next time you are in a position where you might want to speak, your brain remembers deep down inside in your subconscious that time where you tried to speak up and express yourself and you were hurt by it. And you see this within relationships, social gatherings. You know, it could be group, it could also be one-on-one conversation. You know, it could be anywhere that you are each and every day in every single conversation or human connection that you have on a daily basis is influencing you. And it's all in that communication. Every single time you have a conversation and it may spark an emotion, you know, think about that last conversation you had with another person and it sparked an emotional response. You know, whereas like all of a sudden it's like trigger, or maybe you read something and you felt this emotional trigger. You know, oftentimes when I'm in conversation with another person and I might not even know them well, like it could be family, it could be a friend, it could be somebody I just met, you know, and sometimes they might say some things that trigger this emotional response. And when stuff like that happens, you don't want to ignore it. You actually want to try to understand it, understand why you reacted or your mind reacted this certain way, because sometimes we actually don't have things with the emotion is we don't have control over it. It happens. You know, those things happen. We don't have control over it, but we do control the way that we react to them. And that's definitely something that we can control. And I am a believer that the more we care, you know, growing up, my mother was huge into just caring for other people. You know, she always brought that nurturing side of her, and she wanted us to care for others and almost in a natural helper type of way. And I always respected her for that. And we'll be right back. The Mind and Body Performance Podcast is sponsored by True Strength Athletics, where you could level up your performance by training sports specific, tailored directly towards your game. She taught us to treat everyone with respect, or to try to have understanding for what another person's been through. And I think that that is this skill of empathy, having empathy for another person, being able to put yourself in another person's shoes. And that's really important when we're talking about communication, relationships, being able to put yourself in another person's shoes and feel what they may feel. you want to feel or put yourself in that person. And you not only want to do that for other people, you also want to do that for yourself. Being able to step outside of your body and look at yourself from a third person perspective and have that sense of communication or understanding or empathy. We're so hard on ourselves. And, I think that we're so hard on ourselves sometimes that it makes us so hard on other people, or maybe we come off that way, but we don't really need to be that way at all. We can be ourselves and be around other people, and we should be okay with that. No matter what, you should be able to be yourself in this world. Don't you agree? Like, imagine you have to put on this fake show of oh, okay, I'm gonna act like this. No, we shouldn't have to do that. You should be your true self, your true person each and every day. And hopefully that we love that true person that much, and you should. And other people do too. I'm sure you're walking around in your circle, you got plenty of people, that really care about you, as a whole person. And you have to remember that. And you go throughout your life and your days, and you remember that deep down inside. But it's also got to come from you. But that's the one thing is that, and in regards to going back to communications, relationships, oftentimes we are afraid to have this uncomfortable conversation with ourselves or with other people that we really care about, that we want to be part of our life. And I see this all the time with parent-child relationships, and the way that I want to present myself to my parents, just talking about my experiences, and for a little bit, struggled, and then your relationship with your siblings, whether it be brother or sister, your relationship with each and every one of your family members, because all of it is individualized. Each one, you might have shown up and been part of a family your entire lifetime, but there might be people within your family that you really never spoke to or really got into a deep conversation with, so that you can gain a better understanding of the person's values and who they are and what they enjoy doing out here. And so, but that's why it's important that individual relationships, being able to keep in contact with people on a personal level, that one-on-one connection, I think that that's really important. And, I find myself when I am at family gatherings, for instance, my pop very much likes to be by himself, so, but I do like it in a way, because then when I do go in and I have conversation with him, it's one-on-one conversation. And I feel like you really can connect with the person. And who knows, there's people that enjoy one-on-one conversation, there's people that enjoy group setting, and there's people that can be in mixed. And that's why everybody is a little different. But regardless of which one you enjoy, being able to be yourself, being your unique person, is really important. So if you find yourself in environments or surrounding yourself around people where you got to put on this fake show of who you are, remove yourself from those environments. Why are you going to stay in a place where you're not acting or behaving in a way of which you feel like is bettering you or helping you or is you? Again, we have to decide, and this is the thing, is each and every day we are in creative mode. We are creating ourselves each and every day. Whether you are 25 years old, whether you are 15 years old, whether you are 65 years old, it means absolutely no difference in regards to how we need to approach ourselves and our relationships and our communities each and every day. It does not change. Only thing is that I might say is that as we age, and even in the beginning, I think it's a lot harder, because as we age, life tends to take its toll on you. Maybe there was so many conversations that you wanted to open yourself up to, and you just felt like you weren't heard. And over time, it makes you tired of trying to even engage in those conversations and almost like hopeless to it. You might be a young child, you might be 10, 15 years old, and you don't know how to express yourself yet. You don't have the mind for it. You might be 15 to 19 years old, and all of a sudden your brain is developed in a way where it moves fast, but it's almost so fast that you lose the understanding of what's really happening, because things are just all new and uncertain, and you're going through that. So I feel like when you are aging, you do get to a certain point where all of a sudden things start to make sense and it slows down. You ever feel like your life was just moving so fast, moving too fast? Well, there's a way we can slow life down. And another way something that really helps me slow life down is to stop distracting myself with TV, with random scrolling, with anything that is taking my attention away from the present moment of what I'm in and from my mind. Sometimes the easiest thing we can do, it's like, oh, things are going crazy. My mind is, I'm uncomfortable. You see this all the time, actually. If you're in public setting and you see somebody might be uncomfortable, they'll immediately go to their phone. I'm going to go to my phone. This is my safety net. They go to their phone. And then when people are alone or in their homes and they feel like they are overwhelmed or there's a lot of things going on, what do? They turn on the TV. And now they're watching TV. Now they're in front of the screen. And the thing is that when you're in front of the screen, you're watching, it's taking your attention away from your life and from what you need to do, from what your mind needs to go through. It's actually the world's greatest form of numbing you away from what your mind really needs to go through, is TV watching. And that's why I got rid of TV. Now, do I occasionally dive into a good movie? Yes. And something that I found was when I watch these movies, I find myself really getting involved in the characters so much that I actually emotionally am almost exhausted after, because I allowed myself to really be in tune with the character and their feelings and trying to understand and process exactly how they're feeling. That's what I get from inspirational movies. So if you're looking into movies, if you look up inspirational stories, you'll see all sorts of movies that are just about inspiration, people overcoming hardship, and you can put yourself into that person and it will give you a better appreciation for life, for the life that you have, for what you are striving for. And that, I think, is could be used as a really great tool. So, and it's when you're watching the movies, though, or you're watching the news, or you're just watching something mindlessly that could be like a comedy or whatnot, it's programming your mind. Everything you watch is programming your brain. And that's why it really is so important that we're in tune with the input that we're consuming, because that is going to program your mind, and then it's going to come out within your communications and your relationships with other people. If you're always listening to music that is derogatory, you're going to go be derogatory. If you're listening to music that is saying things that are screaming, I listen to, and listen, growing up, I used to love rock and roll, and sometimes it gets me like really angry. But if you think about it, it is like the person screaming, yelling. And what is it about that that's like sparking this energy? Like we like the screaming, the yelling, but why? You know, and then when you think about the words that are being said, sometimes it's like, oh, wait a minute. I shouldn't be liking this song, but why am I? You know, and then you could start to piece together, but you need to have that conversation within yourself. And that's where I think that a really important way that we do this is to dive deep into your own mind. But the only way you can dive deep into your own mind is if we learn how to slow the mind down so that we can process things. It can't be going roller coaster speed. Roller coaster speed is way too fast. It can't be spinning so fast. Like in those Tron type spinning rides. It needs to slow down so that we can take it word for word, lesson by lesson, and grasp a true meaning and understanding of what it really means. And the more that we do that, it will enhance our communication skills with other people, and the deeper we really allow ourselves to get with ourselves, you know, like really thinking deep about like this life and what it is and why we're here. The more you get deep with that thought, the more you gain the appreciation for life each and every day. That's all I have for you for today's episode. If you like this episode, please share it on your Instagram stories. Tag me in at Coach Jake Murphy. Or if you feel this episode can help another person, please share it with them. The reason why I do these is because I want to help people. I feel I have this calling to express myself and lessons that I've learned so that other people can feel like they're not alone, or the only sense of person that may be experiencing some of these thoughts, these feelings, and these emotions. Thank you.